All right, team, welcome to the Next Fitness Show. This is Lex Craig. I am here live right now. It is Friday, June 26th of 2026. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. All right, I'm so excited to see you all in here. Look at this crew. Awesome. Okay, and today we are addressing your mailbag questions. Oh, I didn't put the disclaimer up. I better do it. All right, so just saying, everything that I say on this show is my opinion, and don't take it too seriously. Do your own research, and this is all my opinion. Okay. All right, so we're gonna do the mailbag today. If you are here live right now, I want you to say hey in the chat so they know that you're here. So go into the chat, say what's up. Looks like we have so far, oh, it is Kelly's birthday today. Kelly, happy birthday. Just so you know, Kelly, we sang you happy birthday already in the Brain Teaser show. So if you Go find it in the Next Fitness Thing replay library. You're gonna hear us all singing you happy birthday. Also live right now, we have Megan, we have Edie. It looks like Marissa is here. Nice. Jenny says hi from Italy. Oh, that's exciting. It's great to see you guys. Kelly says, "Aw." Jenny says it is 10 p.m. over here, and you're gonna stay for the show. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Kelly says she missed it due to work. Okay, so today I have mailbag questions from you. I requested the mailbag questions. I got honestly more than I'm going to do today, but I'm going to do most of the ones that I got. I will see how many we get through. Thank you for everybody who sent in mailbag questions. And if you would like to send in mailbag questions for a future show, I really encourage you to do that. This is how you would do it. You can just email it to us. So if you'd like to send in a question for the mailbag, you can send it to tnft@nextfitnessthing.com and we will put you in a future mailbag. Okay, so without any further ado, I got some you have questions. I'm going to do my best to answer them. Again, these are my opinion. And oh, and Donna D says hello from Myrtle Beach. Ooh, fancy. Nice. We missed you in Brain Teaser today. Donna D, if you guys don't know, is the champion of Brain Teaser Walk. Just saying. We have a second Brain Teaser Walk today in the night. So if you want to make it to tonight's Brain Teaser, that'd be great. And Lisa B is here. Great to see you, Lisa B. Lisa B says that she fractured her middle finger. Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope that I hope they fix you right up and happy healing to you. I'm sorry to hear that your middle finger is hurt. Oh, I hope they give you a really fun splint that makes it so that you could just flip everybody off anytime. You're like, sorry, it's broken. What can I do? That'll be great. Okay, first mailbag question. Are you ready? The first mailbag question. Okay, this is a great one. This question is coming in from Kimmy. Okay, Kimmy, I love this question. Kimmy says, I want to ensure as I age, do you exercises to work on? The answer is absolutely yes. For asking this question. Kimmy, I'm so glad to hear this question from you. Okay, so what are my recommended exercises for someone who wants good grip strength? Now, first, why would you want good grip strength? I think that's an important question. Grip strength is correlated with life expectancy, and I mean, that's a thing. You can definitely there is a study out there that says that, the better your grip strength, the longer you're expected to live. That said, it's not causation, right? So I would say that improving your grip strength is not necessarily going to make you live longer, but I can totally understand from the perspective of wanting to be able to open things and wanting to be able to hold on to things and just wanting to be able to stay independent, that grip strength is really important. So I have some suggestions. All right, I'm going to put them all up at the same time on the screen. Now, I will say, anytime you're holding on to something, it's going to help your grip strength. The first suggestion that I have is this move that is on the far left over here. This is called a farmer carry. Now, a farmer carry is any time that you're holding something in each hand while you walk. This is not only an awesome exercise for grip strength, but it is also amazing for core because you have to stabilize it at the same time. Now, farmer carry is something you might be practicing already. In fact, you probably are. This is carrying groceries in from the car, right? This is anytime you have something in both hands and you're walking, and you could do a single side farmer carry. You don't have to do both at the same side at the same time. So I would challenge you to challenge it with the farmer carry. And even in just your regular life, if you have the opportunity to maybe try to lift something a little heavier, just a little heavier than you normally would, to actually challenge it and to make it so that you're doing a little work in your grip strength. Kelly's suggestion is use grip strengtheners. You certainly can. They have those like spring devices or, all different ones, even squeezing balls kind of thing. You can use that. It's definitely a thing. Lisa B says, funny, it is my right middle finger. See? Just saying. There might be a little opportunity in here for you to smile at, your injury. Um, Kelly says she loves her grip strengtheners and she wants to be able to open jars. Yep, that makes sense. Marissa says, I've been working on grip strength with the RIP trainer. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Okay, the next exercise, and this is one, as long as your shoulders are relatively happy, I would suggest is the dead hang. The dead hang is hanging off of something. Now, if you're looking at this and you're like, there's no way I'm hanging off of something, I can't do that. I understand. So then I would suggest do it in a way where you can keep your feet on the ground. So it might look um, like for this girl who you can see here hanging from the pull-up bar, she's hanging and her feet are dangling. I understand that even getting down from that might feel dangerous for you. So maybe use a step ladder and you keep some of your weight in your feet. Maybe you have a pull-up bar that's a little lower. I have one in my house in a door frame that I can totally touch my feet to the ground and hang off of at the same time. So if you're working your way up to be able to dead hang, then you can keep some weight in your feet and that will make it a little bit more accessible. Meanwhile, mom's in here saying food has terrible tight lids. I know, it really does. And mom uses bottle openers to release the suction and pop the vacuum. Yep. Donady also says, I have trouble opening some bottles today. They make them too childproof. I agree, actually. I totally agree. So the dead hang is good for not just grip strength. It is really good for grip strength. It's also really good for decompressing your spine. And this is a functional movement that is helpful. You may actually need this in your life. You might need to help pull yourself up from something at some point, whether it's getting out of a pool, whether it's getting out of a bed, whether it's getting up off the floor. Um, it could be climbing a ladder. It could be any number of things. You might need to pull yourself up. So the dead hang, having a pull-up bar and doing a dead hang is very, very, very valuable. Okay, now that said, let's go to the next one, which is the deadlift. Now I'm showing you the barbell version in this video because it's most recognizable. You don't have to do it with a barbell. You could do it with dumbbells. You could do it with anything. Anytime you're lifting something heavy off the ground, that's going to be a deadlift. Now, the deadlift for most people, the grip, if you're properly challenging your deadlift, meaning it's not too light for you, for most people, the grip is the hardest part. So if you are, unless you have some kind of like injury, like maybe your back, you have some kind of issue with your back or something like that. If the grip is not the hardest part, you're probably not going heavy enough on your deadlift, just saying. So with the deadlift, it is something that you do all the time around your house. You're picking something up heavy off the ground and moving it, right? So it might be a box, it might be a bag, it might be the couch, it might be you're going to vacuum, it might be you're cleaning. There's all kinds of times in your life you're picking something heavy up. It might be you're shopping, right? So practicing a deadlift is really, really, really valuable and it really helps with grip strength. Okay, and I do want to point out that using TRX is a great way to train grip strength, especially if something like the dead hang is not accessible to you. So if you're finding that the dead hang, if you're like, there's no way I'm doing that, TRX would be a great way for you to have part of your body weight in your hands without all of your body weight in your hands. And if you're in the TRX challenge, I would love to hear from you. Have you noticed your grip being challenging? Have you noticed your grip improving? Mom says Tucker. That's what you're picking up the cat off the ground. Totally. Okay. So, Kimmy, I hope this was helpful for you. And I would love to hear if any of this resonated with you. And if you have any further questions around it, please feel free to ask. Okay. Our next question is coming in. Let's do this one. Our next question is coming in from my mom. She is in the chat right now. My mom's named Lana. Lana says, Do you know if exercising with compression socks on is good or bad? Okay, I know that I personally know this about mom that the doctor recently recommended compression socks and not for exercising, just for life. And so then mom's curious, should I be wearing these to exercise? My personal opinion on this is absolutely yes. Wear them while you're exercising. Yes. The idea, and even if your doctor did not recommend compression socks, you might want to wear something compression when you exercise anyway. Now, some people wear compression socks. I think medically that's probably the most common one is the socks. But there are compression shorts, there's compression pants. You might be wearing some extra tight leggings that might be serving as compression pants, even if they weren't designed to be that. I know that's probably true for me. Um, and compression can be really helpful. Now, a lot of athletes wear compression while they're training. It tends to make you less fatigued when you wear compression because it's holding the muscle fibers together. Normally, your body would have to do work to kind of keep the muscle fibers contained. And so the compression is creating an external force to press it all together. So it can make your muscles perform a little bit more efficiently. Now, most of the studies that have been done around that have been on compression shorts or pants, not on socks. They actually did do some studies on the socks. They didn't find a big performance increase for most people from wearing compression socks, but that's not really the reason, okay? The whole point of wearing compression socks for most people who are wearing them is to help with circulation. It helps to improve the blood flow. It helps with people who have varicose veins. It helps to reduce swelling if you're someone who tends to retain water. Um, and so it can really help with all of these things, even when you're exercising. Now, if your doctor specifically tells you not to wear them, don't. There are some times with somebody has circulation, certain circulation problems can be made worse with compression. So just make sure that you are clear on whether compression is a good idea for you if you do have any kind of circulatory system issues. Um, but I would say that you may consider like if you're already wearing compression socks anyway, I would not take them off for the workout. Um, and if you are someone who stands for long periods of time, if you're going to be traveling, the compression socks can actually be really, really good for that. And they shouldn't hurt. They should fit really snug, but it shouldn't be painful. And in general, like staying hydrated and moving regularly are, the best things for circulation. I wouldn't like replace that with compression socks or anything like that. So they're not going to like magically make your workout better, but I would say it might make your workout a little more comfortable, and you may notice a little bit of a difference with fatigue or swelling if you wear them. So I'd say wear them. Okay. Marissa says, I wear compression socks every day. Nice. Kelly also says, we love TRX and the challenge. Yay, me too. I love the TRX challenge too. I'm doing every single rep with you guys in it. I can totally see a difference in my body already. I don't know if you can, but it's been great. Kelly says, I use compression socks for biking and to make a huge and it made a huge difference in your wrist. You wear the compression socks on your wrist or you have compression in your wrist. Yeah. I've worn compression leggings kind of a lot, and I do notice, especially for endurance sports, that it really, really makes a difference for me. So I'd say wear it. They're just annoying to get on. That's the worst part. And I will also say, when I take them off, it's like, oh, and it's not like they were hurting or uncomfortable while I was wearing it, but it does feel like release and relief when it gets off. It's like so much better. Kelly wears compression on the wrist. Nice, nice. Okay, cool. Okay, next mailbag question. Are you ready? Okay, this next mailbag question is coming in from Nancy. And Nancy, this is an amazing question. I'm so glad you asked this. Nancy's question is, what can I do about menopausal belly? This is such a thing. This is such a thing. How many of us are dealing with menopausal belly? It could be from perimenopause, it can be for postmenopause. This is such a thing, okay? So if you are also dealing with menopausal belly, this is for you. Now, I know I put the disclaimer up. I'm not a doctor. I'm giving you my opinion on this. Um, Here's the thing. I learned a lot about this from a woman named Stacy Sims. If you don't know who she is, I encourage you to find her and follow her. Stacy Sims study, she is a PhD and she does research on sex differences in fitness training, specifically how what are the differences between men and women, and specifically she is a menopausal woman, and so she also has an entire book on menopause and fitness training. So this is like where a lot of my understanding of this comes from, is from taking her course. So um I really encourage you to check her out. You can find her on social and stuff like that. She's also like a champion endurance bike racer or something. um anyway, okay. Now, my understanding is that in menopause and perimenopause, there's hormonal changes, right? And those hormonal changes change where fat is stored in your body. So when you're more in your fertility years, the fat tends to store in your glutes and in your thighs. So you can see these women that have like heavier glutes and thighs, and that's where the fat is being stored in their body. And then as your estrogen declines, then your body starts saving the fat in different places. Instead of it being more in the lower part, it starts being more around your belly. So it's more like visceral fat. Now, the difference between there's two kinds of fat. There's visceral fat and there's subcutaneous fat. Subcutaneous fat is the fat that's right under your skin. So that's like, subcutaneous fat. That's the fat in your glutes and your thighs. Visceral fat is the fat that is all around your organs. Now, the visceral fat is more dangerous for you to have on your body because it is associated with higher insulin resistance. It's associated with cardiovascular diseases. It's associated with inflammation. And it's not the reason I'm talking about this is not because I am trying to advocate for you to have a smaller waist, even though that may actually be what you care about, right? I know for a lot of women, it's that they don't want the aesthetic of having a menopausal belly. From that perspective, I'm just going to say, love your body the way it looks right now. If you're healthy, you're good, and learn to love your body at the age that you are. And from the perspective of wanting to live a long, healthy life, working on your visceral fat and making it so that you don't have as much visceral fat is a worthwhile endeavor, right? So there's kind of both of those things going on. Okay, Marissa says, thank you, Nancy, for this question. Donna D says, hate it. Yep. And Edie says, oh, the menopause. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay, so here are my suggestions. Number one is that you need to make sure that you are working on your body composition. Okay, the way that you do that is number one, gain muscle. How are you going to gain muscle? I think I'm freezing on the screen. The way you gain muscle is honestly lifting heavy. You're not going to get rid of your menopausal belly by doing more cardio. You're not going to get rid of visceral fat by doing more cardio. I need to say it again. You're not going to get rid of your visceral fat or your menopausal body by doing more cardio. It's not going to happen. The way that you do it is by gaining more muscle, especially in your lower body. So lifting heavy, especially in your lower body. So doing really heavy bicep curls isn't really going to do it. It's like, especially on things like deadlifts, on squats, on lunges, and it has to be appropriate for you. So I'm not telling you to go from nothing to lifting 300 pounds or something. It's all about progressive overload. So that means that you train, you don't just use the same weights all the time. It has to get a little bit harder and a little bit harder and a little bit harder over time so that you are gaining muscle. Especially important in your lower body because most of the calories that are burned by your body are burned by your lower body because it's from walking around, climbing the stairs, walking around. That's where it happens. So the more that you can build muscles in your legs and your glutes, the more that you're going to be able to have this engine that is burning the fat off of your body, and the more of a difference that you're going to notice in the visceral fat of your body. So the most important thing I'm going to say is lift heavy. If you have the same pair of dumbbells that you've had for years and years and years, it's time to up your game. That's part of why I wanted to do the TRX challenge, because you don't have to buy new weights in order to go heavier. Okay, the other thing I'll just say with that is if you want to improve your body composition and to have more muscle, it takes watching sugar and making sure you're eating protein. And I'm talking like maybe more protein than you thought. I'm not a registered dietitian. According to Stacy Sims, this researcher who I'm telling you, she's saying that you need to eat 30 to 40 grams. Women need to, especially in perimenopause and beyond, need to eat 30 to 40 grams of protein per meal. That means it's like 100 to 120 grams of protein per day, and it may be more if you are like way more because it's based on your weight. So I would guess that maybe more protein than you're eating. You could check. You said sugar is the enemy. I mean, I don't want to make anything the enemy, but like it's not helping. It's really not helping. The other thing I'm just gonna say is make sure you're eating enough. A lot of women tend to not eat enough, and they might think they're eating enough. And especially if you're working out really hard, it's really important that you are actually eating enough, because if your body thinks that for the amount of work you're doing that it's not getting enough fuel, it's going to hold on to whatever it can, and it's not going to be losing the visceral fat. It's going to think it needs to hold on to that. So make sure you're eating enough. Okay, I hope that that helped. Of course, there are other things going on. The only other thing, this is the piece I'm not really an expert in, but I know it's made a really big difference in my body, is managing inflammation. That when I am in a very inflamed state, whether it's from stress or whether it's from not sleeping enough, or if it's from, eating things that are inflammatory or being in an inflammatory environment, then it can make your belly bigger because it's inflammation and not fat. And I know that I personally have a lot of experience with that happening for me. So managing inflammation is also a really big thing. Okay, that's my suggestion on all of that. All right, thank you, Nancy, for that question. I hope that helped, and I would love to hear anything you have to say about it. Okay, next question is coming in from our birthday girl. This question is from Kelly. Happy birthday again, Kelly. Okay, Kelly's question is, what suggestions do you have around how to look at achieving your goals for 2026 now that we are halfway through? Thank you for asking this question. I actually just think the fact that you're even thinking in this way of noticing that we're halfway through this year and that you've set goals for the year is an indication that you are already on track. You are already thinking of it in a way that is conducive to meeting your goals. So I would love to hear from all of you. What are your goals for 2026? For those of you who are in the Next Fitness Thing, team, all of us who take workouts together, we have been talking about our goals for the year all year. We had a resolution run where we talked about what our goals are for the year. We check in with Goals Walk every single first Monday of the month, and we set goals for the month. So from that perspective, we've been checking in on our goals from the year. So how's that going is my first question. And Kelly says, I think I always think this way, being a halfway baby. Interesting. That's super interesting. Right. I'm like a late December baby, so I kind of think, uh, yeah, my life revolves around the new, like right around the new year time. Interesting. Okay, the first thing I'm going to say with just checking in with 2026 goals is first thing is celebrate your wins. That's the very first thing is notice what your wins are so far. Make sure you're celebrating your wins. Before you start getting critical, before you start evaluating anything, just celebrate what are you celebrating first. First of all, you're celebrating your birthday. So we're all here celebrating that with you. And even small wins. What are little wins that you've already had this year? What are things that you've showed up to that you said you were going to? What are any victories? Anything that you can celebrate. The second piece I would suggest is look back at your why. You might remember what your goals are, but I want you to go beyond that. Why did you want that in the first place? Go back to the underlying why underneath your goal. And then that's the lens to be looking at this year so far through. It's more about why you wanted it in the first place than it is the actual thing. I really encourage you to just keep focusing on your progress rather than on needing it to be perfect. And to simplify your priorities, if you try to take on too many things, especially you're like, oh, we're halfway through, I still have 8 things on my list. If you try to take on all 8 at the same time, it's generally going to be harder for you to achieve your goal. So if you can focus on just one or just two at a time, then that'll help you. Um, From there, I really encourage you to notice if the goals that you set are outcome-based goals or are they behavior-based goals. So did you set a goal of like, I want to run 100 miles this year? That's an outcome-based goal. Or did you set a goal of, I am going to run 3 days a week, every week, with a long run every weekend? That's a behavior-based goal. If you set an outcome-based goal, then I want you to turn it into a behavior-based goal. It's okay to have an outcome-based goal, but what is the behavior that would actually take to achieve that? And I want you to focus on the behavior more than the outcome. Keep showing up to the behavior so that way, if you need to adjust your goal, you'll know if it's realistic because you're going to set your behavior-based goal based on what's realistic for behavior. And then the outcomes are not always in our control, right? Lisa's here telling us that she broke her finger. She was planning to do TRX. She signed up for the challenge. She was showing up. She broke her finger. So if her goal was, to do every single class of the TRX challenge and then something happens, it's outside of her control, right? But if the goal is to keep working on my health and, my strength, there are other ways to be able to get to that why. Okay, nice. I love these going in. Yep. Kelly says, I had a big goal, a biking goal, and knowing I'm taking steps, and it's not just the year, but the last 2 years, and the more I practice, the stronger I get. Exactly. 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 So keep celebrating along the way. The more that you can find ways to be accountable, and that's what we're here for. That's what that goals walk is here for. P.S. This Monday's not goals walk because Monday's the 29th, I think. Is that right? 27, 28, yeah. So it's the following Monday is goals walk. But just saying that, just keep breaking it down into smaller and smaller pieces to just make it one little thing at a time. But you're doing great. Celebrate. Celebrate your birthday. Celebrate all the little things along the way. All right. And the only other thing I'm just going to say with this is make sure it's in your calendar and make sure you're writing it down. So write down your goals, write down your steps along the way, write down in your calendar all of the pieces that you're going to do. And these are like the things I always say, but it's just a reminder now that we're halfway through. There we go. Kelly says July 6th for Goals Walk. Thank you. Yeah, totally. July 6th. Yep. Okay. So thank you for this question. Thank you for this reminder that we're halfway through. I actually really, really value you bringing this up right here and allowing for us to have this conversation around this right now. It's great. Okay, what else do we got? Next question. The next question, oh, mom sent in two. Okay, this is a good one. All right, here's the question. Next question is, do energy enhancing drinks help and do you crash when they wear off? Okay. All right, loaded question. I like this one. Now, what are we talking about here? This could be energy enhancing drinks. That could mean so many things. It could mean anywhere from like a Red Bull, a Monster, a Celsius, an Alani. What are the cool ones now? The energy drink market just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and honestly, that's scary to me. Like Rockstar, Prime, Bang. I don't know. I don't. Do you guys do energy drinks? I'm scared of energy drinks. Um, but you might also be talking about supplements. There's lots of people who do pre-workout and they're taking a pre-workout supplement that might be caffeine, but it might be something else. There are a lot of ingredients in pre-workout, like caffeine. It might have creatine. It might have beta alanine. It might be something like taurine, which is the same kind of thing in the energy drinks. Um, Sometimes it's electrolytes, sometimes it's like L-tyrosine, L-theanine, all these kinds of things. Like it could be a lot of things, right? So just saying, okay, where are we starting with this? The first thing I'm going to say is read your ingredients. You got to read the ingredients. Um, if you're drinking an energy drink, I really encourage you to read the ingredients. And if you I am really scared of energy drinks, to be totally honest with you. So I will never recommend anyone take an energy drink, especially the ones in the can that are like an energy drink. If you love them and you insist on having them, I would say only one a day. A lot of these times when people are like dying from drinking energy drinks, a lot of times they have more than one. So I wouldn't even recommend one, but if you do have one, I would not have another. Um, a lot of them have a lot of caffeine. I think that the maximum recommended daily consumption of caffeine is something like 400 milligrams, and most of those energy drinks have 200. So be careful with that. And then I also just want to say with this, like, here, I could show you. This is the big ones right now, at least that I found. This is a Mom says with a magnifier, how do you read it with the font so small? To be honest, it's like anything that they're trying to sell you that has the font that small on the ingredients means they're hiding something and you probably don't want it. Now, my glasses are thick. I understand. Not everybody, like, if I went off of that, I wouldn't buy anything. But just saying, like, you really got to make sure you read the ingredients. Jenny says, I think energy drinks are going to kill people. Energy drinks are already killing people. There's even teenagers dying from drinking energy drinks. So I would be really careful with energy drinks. Personally, are there better enhancers than others? Definitely. Okay, here's the thing. First of all, if it was me, I would lean toward more natural choices. Okay. So for me, if I am not really feeling my workout and I want a little bit of a boost to be able to work out, I'm just going for coffee. Maybe even espresso, something like that. Coffee, tea, matcha, those kinds of things. At least you know that the amount of caffeine it has in it is much lower than it is in an energy drink. Plus, a lot of times the energy drinks have all of these other ingredients and you may not be sure what they are or how they affect your body. So, some people swear by beet juice. I don't have a lot of experience with it. It stains, and so I don't keep that around. I don't really do juice that much anyway. But coconut water for me is surprisingly energizing. I love actually drinking coconut water before and after I work out, and during even. I personally prefer it. I put the picture of the coconut on here, but even if you're getting like, coconut water, just check it, read the ingredients, make sure it doesn't have sugar also. It doesn't need to have that. Edie says the amount of preteens doing energy drinks scare me. Totally. It's just like, what? Okay, there are certainly other supplements or ingredients that are in pre-workouts that might be something that you would want to investigate, okay? I would personally suggest, and again, I'm not like a doctor or something. I would personally suggest though, if you want to try something like that, to try those kinds of things one at a time, rather than taking some kind of supplement where it has a lot of different things mixed together and you're not really sure how they're going to affect you. And then if it works, even you're not really sure which piece of it was what helped you, then I personally would err toward trying one thing at a time, see how that affects you. And then if you wanted to combine them, then you would at least have a better idea of what each thing was individually. So some examples that I've tried in my life, I've definitely, I mean, of course, caffeine, that's a thing. But like creatine, I've definitely been playing with taking creatine, and there's all this, we talked about that on this show before. There's all this evidence that creatine's like really good for your brain, that it's not just for bodybuilders, it can make your workouts more explosive. It gave me a headache when I took it. I mean, I don't know. I'm not an expert on creatine, but I think it might be worth trying. Um, I personally have also tried L-tyrosine and also L-theanine, and I have held not just for working out, but also just for focus. And I actually really had a good experience with both of those and really felt like it was helpful for me for sure. Um, Coconut water is really helpful for me. But I mean, again, maybe like some people like to take ginseng, other people like to take yerba mate. Yerba mate is kind of like a caffeine, but it's like a little bit uh I'm not sure if it actually is the same as caffeine. It's almost like a green tea. Have you guys had yerba mate? It's almost kind of like green tea, but it's a little bit more energizing, a little different than the caffeine energy. And some people love taking guayusa. Guayusa is like um, a little bit more around focus and not so much around power. And I mean, it may even, some people are just taking like B vitamins, like taking B6 or B12. So just saying, there's a lot of things to play with. I would do some research, make sure you're sourcing them well. I wouldn't just trust some energy drink that has a bunch of things mixed together. You don't even know how much of each one that you're getting with that. So be careful with pre-workout is basically what I'm saying. If you have underlying conditions, like if you have especially cardiac conditions, then I would be really careful with any of those stimulant things. Yeah, I personally stick to coconut water and coffee. Those are mine. Um, okay. Thank you for that question. I think it's a really important thing for us to talk about. I know I've been actually reaching out to learn more about peptides because I know everybody's talking about that right now. And some people are taking all different kinds of peptides for all different reasons. I'm not prepared to talk about that right now. All I know that I want to mention is all a peptide means is that it's part of an amino acid. It's like a building block of an amino acid. So they're not all built the same. And if somebody's trying to sell you peptides, um, it's definitely a buzzword thing right now. Let's just say that. Okay, next question. I think this might be the last question. All right. This question's coming in from Jamie. Jamie, thank you for this question. This question from Jamie is, she says, I'm having some knee issues. It's finally getting better, but I'd love to know some strength things for lower body that don't involve squatting or lunging, if that's even possible. I don't have that range of motion right now because of injury and inflammation. Okay, this is a great question, and you're not alone, Jamie. A lot of people are having this kind of issue, and I can really, really see um, why it's really valuable for us to be talking about this. Having a knee issue can be so frustrating, and especially because you want to be using your legs all the time, so it can take a long time to get better. And in my experience, most people who have a knee issue, it is the result of an imbalance. And so even if there was an acute injury that happened, like a trip or some kind of impact, most of the time, the knee injury is the result of a misalignment or an imbalance that was already there, that then that incident like made it worse. Okay. So addressing the underlying imbalance or the underlying misalignment is the most important thing. So with that, I would say just you may be in physical therapy, and I think physical therapy is a wonderful thing. I also have found personally that physical therapy tends to address the part that's injured, and it completely depends on, your experience with physical therapy. Not every physical therapist is the same. Um, but it doesn't always address the whole system that might have some global misalignments going on. So that said, something like Pilates can be really helpful. Pilates was originally designed to address misalignments and to help to build stability and alignment within your core, especially between hips and shoulders, so that way, if your hips and shoulders are more aligned, it can help the whole rest of you to be a little bit more aligned. So if I were to just recommend like one modality for you, that would be probably what I would start with, especially because Pilates often doesn't really involve a lot of standing or squatting or anything like that. It does often, though, involve being on your knees, which I imagine is not going to be great for you. So Edie says, Jamie, same, doing bar strength and my muscles around my knees. Yeah. Okay. In general, now I'm generalizing knee issues, which is not necessarily fair. But in general, the front of their legs is stronger than the back, like you're quad dominant. And so getting the back side of your body stronger is really helpful. So with that, what I would suggest that you might want to look into, and I know I brought these up already, is deadlifts. Now, I'm talking Romanian deadlifts specifically, meaning basically straight legs, especially because you're saying that you can't really bend your knees a lot, that even if you start light and just practice range of motion of being able to keep a neutral spine as you hinge forward to pick something up and stand up with a neutral spine, you're going to be building strength all up the back side of your body. So I would really suggest practicing something like this. I picked the move of the week for you. So I'm going to show you some of these. The other thing to practice is glute medius. Glute medius is your side glute, and glute medius is in charge of lateral stabilization. And Aaron always jokes about this, that at physical therapy you could break your middle finger and they're going to tell you need to train glute medius. Glute medius tends to be the thing that they're like, if that is underdeveloped, you end up getting hurt in some way, and it's not always the same thing. But training glute medius is valuable, and I'm going to show you during the move of the week what that is. But I actually have one other move that you're probably not thinking of that I want to show you that I've personally found really helpful in training knees, and that is training in the water. Um, I learned about this from physical therapists. I was lifeguarding at a pool where physical therapists would bring clients all the time. Now, you can do a lot in the pool in the shallow end and stand in the shallow end, and that is a great place to start. You might want to do things like lifting your leg to the side, standing on one leg while you lift the other to the side. You can even hold on to the edge of the pool. You can also practice, kicks and all. I mean, there's a whole, I could go on and on about this, teach a whole class on it. And when you're ready, wearing a belt, like a flotation belt in the pool is so, so helpful. So this one, there's one brand called the Aqua Jogger, but now they have like way, way cheap ones that are real. You could even just use a pool noodle, which is what the girl on the right has, is a pool noodle. And doing, especially, yes, you can do the running motion and all these things, but I would really suggest egg beater kicks. And it basically, I pretend this is my legs. It's like when you're trying to tread water and you go like this way with your feet, and you go this way with your feet, and you move it from your hips so that your hips are rotating in and your hips are rotating out. Um, that being able to have that resilience of internal and external rotation from the hips is, I have found, and also like that it's probably what you're not thinking of. Let's just say that. And if you're not doing in pool training with your physical therapist, you may not be addressing this. So rotational forces tend to be what gets you injured in the first place. So think about that. Okay, and that was our last question. So I'm going to show you today's move of the week, which I specifically chose for the purpose of Jamie's question. So the move of the week this week is clamshell. All right, clamshell is awesome. We're seeing Wayne here do this with the band around his thighs. You could do this without any weight. You can do this with your legs as straight or as bent as you can manage. So you could do this in bed even if that's what you need to do. Um, Keeping your feet together and on the floor is an easier version of this. And if you are more advanced, you can graduate to this version that Veronica's showing, which is lifting your feet off of the ground. Now, there is also this version that I wouldn't really call a clamshell. Personally, I would call this like just an abduction. But you can see here, Mary Beth is lifting and lowering, including the foot. So the foot is coming up off of the other foot. The more that you have the band away from your hips, the harder this is going to be. So wearing the band around your ankle, if you're lifting your foot up, is going to be harder. Where if you have, and wearing the band around your knee, if you're lifting from your knee, is going to be harder. So just saying, you don't have to wear a band at all. All right. And that said, just from this perspective, also, Pilates has a lot of side series moves like this, where you're not bending your knee at all. You're working your glutes, you're working core stability, and you're working mobility. And this is going to be really helpful. Edie says she does a lot of exercise in the pool. They're very helpful, and she uses the noodle. Totally, totally. Kelly says pool workouts are the best. 100%. Jenny says, what about Pilates Reformer? Pilates Reformer can be great. It really depends on where you're taking that and how. In a one-on-one situation, I'm a huge fan of Pilates Reformer. In a group, I would say it is not appropriate for rehabilitation unless you are already an expert in use of the reformer. In my experience, group exercise Pilates reformer classes are outrageously challenging, usually. Not all of them. You might find a class that is not, but the mass market ones that I have had experience with are outrageously challenging. And I don't want to say dangerous, that's not really fair, but they're asking you to stand on one leg on a sliding board while you put another foot into a loopy thing that's going to make you slide. I mean, they're expecting a lot. So, um, I would just say with the Pilates reformer classes, I would suggest getting comfortable with it in a one-on-one environment or in a small group, something where you're going to have a lot of personal attention and they can move at the pace that you are going to feel comfortable with. And then once you have a little bit of familiarity with how it works and understanding the moves, then that would be a better time to go and take the group reformer class. Yeah. Okay. Um, what else we got here? So that was it for the mailbag. Thank you to everybody who submitted mailbag questions. And if you would like to submit a mailbag question, I'm going to put that up one more time so that if you have anything for the mailbag, send it in. We can do this again as soon as you like. Email us at tnft@thenextfitnessthing.com. All right, cool. So I don't really have a lot of announcements. My one announcement is take Edie's class. It's on Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Pacific. It is freaking awesome. And you should definitely go there. It is called the What's Up Walk. And Edie talks about what's up with this or what's up with that. If you missed it, this week's class was recorded. So go check out the What's Up Walk. Also, this weekend on Sunday is our walking book club. So if you haven't finished the book, make sure you finish it. We are doing the walking book club at 1 p.m. Pacific on Sunday with Casey. I'm finishing the book right now. It's so cute. I actually really like it. I like it more than I expected to. Um, there will be no classes on 4th of July. You have a whole week before that though. And oh, I do have one other thing. I didn't make a slide for it, but on Friday, tonight I'm teaching the TRX challenge. And after that, we have another brain teaser walk. So for the next 3 weeks, after the TRX challenge, we have an evening brain teaser walk. So come, it's going to have different questions than we did this morning. All right. Mom says Mailbag's a great show. Thank you for the info. Jenny's liking the book also. Yay! Okay, awesome. Jenny loves the mailbag show format. Cool. Okay, well, keep the mailbag questions coming in and I'll keep doing it. Sounds great. All right. That was awesome. Thank you. Have a wonderful week. And I will be back